In section 4.1.39-T, the data in the accompanying table represent the annual rates of return for various stocks. If you only wish to invest in 2 stocks, which 2 would you select if your goal is to have low correlation between the 2 investments? And which 2 would you select if your goal is to have one stock go up and the other goes down? So here is the data set. I'm going to go ahead and open that up into StatCrunch from my stat lab. So in the problem, you're going to go ahead and select the icon to view the table that you've just seen. Okay, and again, in the upper right hand corner here, we're going to go ahead and open the data into StatCrunch. Okay, now that the data is in the StatCrunch, I'm going to go ahead and view that table up here. So what you notice here is that the first column represents the year. The second column is stock A. The third column is stock B. And the last column is stock C. So what we want to be able to do is we're going to be able to find out, okay, what is the correlation coefficient between stock A and stock B, and then find the correlation coefficient between stock A and stock C, and then the correlation coefficient between stock B and stock C, and then compare them. So in order to do that, we're just going to follow the information again by following the StatCrunch option. Select Stat, go to Summary Stat, and then select Correlation. Okay, now the first one that we want to do is we want to be able to figure out what is the linear correlation between stock A and stock B. So we have 4 columns in here, but we're only concerned with stock A. We're going to hit the control button and select stock B. So we got to make sure those 2 are in that place. And then we're going to select Compute. So that gives us a value of negative 0.462. So down here we should see that for stock A and stock B, R is going to equal negative 0.462. Okay, next, we now need to find the linear correlation between stock A and stock C. So again, we're going to go back up to Stat, select Summary Stats, and then locate Correlation. And now we're going to be comparing A and C, so we're going to select A and then hold the control button to select stock C. So now we're going to select Compute. And now we're getting a value of 0.362 if we round it to 3 decimal places. So we get 0.362. Okay, the last one that we need to find the correlation coefficient is for stock B and stock C. So we're going to repeat the same steps. We're going to go to Stat, Summary Stats, select Correlation. And now we're going to compare stock B and hold the control button with stock C. And then again select Compute. And then if we look at those, at that number, we end up getting 0.019, and therefore that is the linear correlation coefficient for stock B and stock C. Okay, now going back to the question, we want to find out if you only wish to invest in 2 stocks, which stock would you select if your goal is to have low correlation between the 2 investments? And which 2 would you select if your goal is to have one stock go up and then the other goes down? Well, we can see here that we have a linear correlation coefficient for stock A and B to be negative 0.462. For stock A and C, it's 0.362. And for stock B and C, it's 0.019. So if your goal is to have low correlation between the 2 investments, then you would select stock B and stock C because this is close to 0. Because the linear correlation coefficient for stock B and stock C is closest to 0. Now, if your goal is to have one stock go up and the other goes down, well, the linear correlation coefficient for the pair of stocks you should select be as close to -1 as possible. And since the closer R is to -1, the stronger is the evidence of the negative association between the variables. So recall that the linear correlation coefficient is negative for stock A and B. And so therefore, if your goal is to have one stock go up when the other goes down, then you would select stock A and stock